I'll dive into now some NBA talk, Chris, because I'm interested to get your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets. I feel like maybe the most disappointing team that I can remember in terms of the talent that they had and their ability, and then just getting swept out the door by Boston. I mean, it seemed like a lot of dysfunction up in Brooklyn. What was your kind of outside take on that whole situation with happened with Ben Simmons not playing, Kevin Durant not, and then to me, a super team just really not panning out at all.
Yeah, and I think they ran into a team that has been very well put together by Brad Stevens this year. Ime Udoka has done a phenomenal job as a first-year coach, and they were really good defensively. I think over the course of the back half of the NBA season, Boston was the best defensive team in the NBA, and we really saw that. I would put Boston and Miami from a defensive perspective 1 and 2. We saw what Miami did to Trae Young. They basically neutralized him in that entire Miami-Atlanta series. But I thought Kevin Durant at times, and I still think he's, if not the most talented player in the world, one of the most talented players in the world. I thought he tried to do too much at times. I thought he tried to take some quick shots because he wasn't quite trusting of his other teammates. Now, Kyrie is one of the best players in the world as well, but they just had so much swirling around them. And I think they played the wrong team in the first round, a together Boston team that I think has embraced the opportunity in front of them. So much was said early in the year. Can Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown play together? I think we are qualified now to say they can. Right. And Marcus Smart challenged those two guys early in the year to become better passers, better teammates. And you saw that happen throughout the series. I thought Tatum was a very willing passer. Even though he was scoring 30 points a game, he made some terrific passes in that Game 4 win that led to Grant Williams threes. But you look at the whole super team complex, if you will. LA was a super team. The Lakers, they didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
The Clippers could be labeled a super team, but we never saw Kawhi Leonard with Paul George. And Brooklyn gets bounced out of the first round. There are a lot of people now sort of reevaluating in the NBA. Will a super team work? Are you better off growing it organically? Do we call Golden State a super team? Well, you really can't from the standpoint Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Draymond Green, all drafted by the Golden State Warriors. To me, a super team is qualified as you've brought all these guys in from different teams. Right. So it'll be interesting to see how this changes the NBA going forward, because clearly Brooklyn and the Lakers didn't work this year.
Well, and I think it speaks to just, sorry, I didn't mean to step on your toes there, but I think it just speaks to I look back at Miami, and you can say Golden State worked, and obviously it did. They had one of the most incredible shooting teams for a couple of years there, and some of the best offensive talent. But I think it goes to show just kind of how unique that bond was that they had between LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Miami. Like, those guys were friends off the court. And I think a lot of people got the idea that if you put three superstars on the court, that it's going to work. And there's personalities to deal with. And the biggest thing to me, when I've been a critic of Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony, like, there's one basketball. Like, yeah. People forget that just because you have three guys that average 25 points per game, they still got to share the ball. They still got to get along. And when you're dealing with personalities and coaching and other players on the team, again, I just go back to, like, Miami might have been and Golden State might have been two of the rare circumstances where that's going to work because of the personalities and because those guys all got along.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, I think the Lakers would have been much better off bringing back the group they had last year.
Yeah.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma. Those three guys fit much better alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron James than Russell Westbrook did. Now, again, I think Russell Westbrook is an outstanding talent, but again, sometimes you can't put all those guys together and make it work. Really, it's no fault of Frank Vogel. Look, they won a title 2 years ago with LeBron and Anthony Davis and with all of those complementary pieces. I do think that The reason it worked with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh was, to your point, those guys really got along well. But there is something about that Miami Heat culture that Pat Riley has established, and Eric Spoelstra, with the longevity he's had as the head coach, there's no getting around what they have put together. You're seeing it again this year with Jimmy Butler. And I saw somebody, reference Victor Oladipo. Oladipo had fallen out of the rotation, but because of injuries in Game 5, he played very well. So it'll be interesting to see how the Heat utilize Oladipo when Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry are back. But I like how Memphis has done it. I like what Minnesota is doing. And I really think that's the model that Indiana is taking. Now, you can say they made a trade to get Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton, but they're young players that you're trying to build around. You're adding Chris Duarte and Isaiah Jackson. Miles Turner really is still young, and you're going to have some draft picks so that you can grow it similar to how these other teams have grown it. And you were seeing how talented they are. I mean, let's look at Denver. Even though they got bounced last night, Jokic is their draft pick. Jamal Murray's their draft pick. Michael Porter Jr. is their draft pick. I think that's the way a lot of teams are going to move toward. Cleveland has done the same thing. Grow your own, build your own, and that's the way to go.
Chris, I cannot thank you enough, brother. It is always a blast when you come on. How's the gardening going? It's been
it's great. Yard looks great. Even though the weather's been a little cool, that's made for good grass growing. So I'm very pleased with how everything looks right now.